What would you do if you lost out on some Ghost Rider shards in Marvel Strike Force? That's a question every man and woman has to ask themselves at some point in their lives. Today, I want to talk about an event that happened recently in the Marvel Strike Force community that I don't think is well known. I just wanted to cover it for two main reasons today. One, I think it's great to learn a little bit of history about things you care about, because something like this is not unlikely to happen again. I think it's good to know how it was handled, so we can even better address it next time that it happens. And two, hopefully, if we raise a little more awareness, this problem could get resolved. The reason why this problem hasn't been resolved, it is a problem that affects a small portion of the community, and on top of that, it's sort of newer players that are affected by this. So there are people that don't really have a ton of roots in this community, so it's hard for them to express their discontent with this. So that's why I wanted to talk about today. If this didn't affect you, just something fun to sort of learn about. But essentially what happened is new players are sort of thrown into blitzes, with sort of newer players. And essentially the way this works is, since they're playing with new players, then it lowers the blitz scores. It makes sense because new players have less of a roster than we do as veterans. Most of us that are veterans have 10 plus teams you can run through in blitz very easily to get scores in the 600,000 plus, without even really paying attention. But the way it works for new players, you don't have that, so you just get dominated in these blitzes. So smartly, they have blitzes for sort of newer players, where it's only newer players playing in there. And as you can see, this is how a normal new player blitz would score. You know how hard it is to get first place in a blitz. Like, you know how much work that takes. And as you can see, it still took just as much work because this person's roster is less strong, so of course there's less points. So this person still invested the same amount of effort probably as a normal person, a veteran player would, to get first place. But as you can see, 2 million points was enough to get first place, which is nowhere near enough for that in the veteran shard. Now, if you take a look at the first place for the Ghost Rider Blitz, this was still the beginner Blitz. You might notice a problem. 6.7 million was the top right here. So there's a little bit of a problem right there. And that is, some veterans got into the beginner Ghost Rider Blitz. So essentially, this is a pretty big problem, because as a new player, you see Ghost Rider, one of the better characters in the game, and you get excited for them, and you work really hard to unlock Ghost Rider, and then it turns out, there are some veterans in there, and they just automatically knock you down a ton of places. Super unfortunate, because essentially you get robbed of 80 or so shards, because you could have earned like 100 shards for placing highly. Now best you can do, place top 60 to 25%, get 15 or 25 Ghost Rider shards, which is unfortunate for new players that could really use this character and probably work really hard to get enough shards to unlock this character, to get knocked down far enough so you are unable to unlock him now. Those people reached out to support, and this is what they gave them. Now, a very blurry picture, but they gave them 1,500 Blitz Orb fragments. They gave them around 1,000 credits. They gave him 6 Ghost Rider shards, and then they gave him like 15 or so of these little healing charges right here, and then they gave him like 70k gold or something like that. So essentially nothing. 6 shards as opposed to the 85 shards they lost, and then they gave him a bunch of random fluff that doesn't really hold any value in Marvel Strike Force. Really unfortunate, because first off, you worked hard in a blitz. Turns out you just got wrecked by veterans that just accidentally got put into that shard. And then, on top of that, the compensation you get is subpar at best. And that's not even the end of it. There are people here that have not even gotten their rewards. Like, for example, this guy right here, he has not gotten his sort of compensation for being in this blitz with veteran players. So this is just a multi-phase problem right here, where first off, you have veterans coming into a blitz, taking away shards from beginners. Then on top of that, you have really poor compensation coming out for these new players. And then on top of that, then you have not everyone even getting this subpar compensation. So just a really interesting scenario that I want to talk about, because not a lot of people cover it, because again, it only affects a small portion of the player base. But it's something I want to talk about because, as I said at the beginning of the video, I just think it's interesting to know about, because something like this could happen again, and hopefully FoxNext will do better next time. Or at the very least, it's just an interesting event to know about. It's interesting to see how FoxNext handles different problems, and we can see how they handled this problem today. Now, if you ask me, what would be the way FoxNext should fix this? I think they should figure out how many veterans got into the beginner blitz. I can't imagine it's that hard to figure that out, because, I mean, they're the ones that let him in by accident. And then I'd take, like, say there's 2,000 veterans that accidentally got into the blitz. I'd cut out, I'd move everyone else's place up by 2,000 and give them the rewards that they would have gotten if they were in that place. You know, just remove the veterans from the equation, and then I would give people what they would have gotten instead. And it's hard not to see Foxnex not... I mean, I think that sounds like a simple fix, something they're capable of, and it's hard not to view Foxnex as not doing that because they don't want to give out more Ghost Rider shards because of how good he is. So just unfortunate that I think there's a very clear way to fix this problem that they're not taking. Instead, they're just giving everyone 6 Ghost Rider shards, which is nothing compared to what they would have gotten if these new players had gotten the chance to place in the top 200. So, with that being said, let me know what you think about this down below. You know, just an interesting situation. But, you know, what do I really know? Because I am only an 18-year-old. I hope everyone can have a happy and healthy day. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.